Hi, today we're talking about multiplying decimals by whole numbers. So we're going to do a little review and we're going to talk about some of the base 10 blocks that we use for manipulatives. So this flat, when we're talking about decimals, is going to represent one whole. So this is going to be our one whole. Now when we break this apart into 10 pieces, we get our tenths, and our tenths look like this. And we know that 10 tenths would make up one whole, so this is our tenth. And then the last one we have here is our hundredth. Now we don't have any thousandths, but you can imagine how teeny tiny those thousandths would have to be. So let's talk about multiplication. So we know when we're multiplying, we're making, it's like repeated addition. So for example, if I were to say 4 times 3 tenths, it'd be written like this, 4 times 3 tenths. Now we could solve this problem by repeated addition. We could go 3 tenths plus 3 tenths plus 3 tenths plus 3 tenths, and that would work fine for this problem. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 more 9, plus 3 more 12. Well, now where do I put the decimal? What do you guys think? Now let's think about it. If I were to put it here, it would give me 12 hundredths. If I were adding 3 tenths, would that make sense? No, I'm going to have more. So I'm going to bring the decimal straight down and put it there. So let me show you it with modeling. So here's 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, and that's one group. 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 2 groups. 1 tenth, sorry about that, 2 tenths, 3 tenths. I now have 3 groups, and here's my last for 4 groups of 3 tenths. So now if I'm going to compare it to my flat, 1, 2, 3, and 6, 9, 10. So this I could trade in for one whole. So I'd have 1 whole and 2 tenths, also written as 1 whole and 2 tenths. That's exactly what we got when we did repeat addition. So we're on the right track. So I'm going to show you another way to model it without using the manipulatives. Here we have a grid that is made up of 100 squares. It's 10 by 10. And the way they model it this way is by shading. So I'm going to have 4 groups of 3 tenths. So 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths. Then I have another group of 3 tenths. I'm just going to shade it straight down because I know that that's 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths. So as far I have 3 groups of 3/10, but I need to make another group of 3/10. So I get my next grid. One-tenth, 2/10, and 3/10. So again, I have 1 whole here plus 1 2/10. And when I put them together, I have 1 and 2/10, which is what we got. Perfect. So let's try a few other ones. Let's try 4 times 700ths. So again, I'll write it out on the top. Four times 700ths. So I'm going to have to really be careful not to shade out of my boxes. I know this is broken into 100 squares, so I'm going to color in 7 at a time. 100th, 200th, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700ths. There's one group. Then what I do is I continue going down that row because I want to compress it because it's going to be easier to read later. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 2 groups of 700ths. Three groups of 700ths. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I can easily see that I have 2 whole rows, 2 whole columns, sorry about that, 2 whole columns shaded in for 2/10, and then I have 8 of the hundredths, so our answer is going to be 28 hundredths. 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I know that the whole would have been 100, so 28 hundredths.